Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Wrath of the Righteous, with me, Bragaton. Let's continue exploring Pulura's Fall. The starry sky is miraculously reflected in the surface of the water. The mirrored image is a perfect reproduction of the real thing, allowing you to see even the smallest details. This is also a puzzle we'll solve later. We need to find a book. Greetings, brother. It is surprising to see the soul of a mortal shine so brightly. A set of tables filled with astronomical data and observations about the world wound.
I'm something over there.
Oh, that's right.
The world has suffered enough.
You are my favorite aide. This experiment has gone awry.
On this rows of books, each tome is filled with indecipherable numbers. Alright, found 2 books to read. Oh, this is for the puzzle we just saw. Old Sarkorian book. This is tied to the... No, this is the one for the puzzle. This just talks about all the signs. The Cosmic Caravan and its journey across the night sky. The concept of the Cosmic Caravan, which makes its way across the night sky throughout the year and consists of 13 constellations, comes to us from Aslan. The order in which the caravan signs are arranged holds both metaphorical and deeply mystical meaning, in light of which astrologists advise against the use of models where the signs appear out of order, or even in reverse order, as in some cases. The Thrush, 18 Cthulhu to 20 Abadius, is a sign associated with friendship, hospitality, a promise of new beginnings, and song. The constellation portrays a songbird sitting on a branch and greeting the wary cosmic caravan at the start of the new year. The Thrush is the patron of merrymakers and optimists. The Lantern Bearer, 21 Abadius to 16 Callistril, is the constellation that begins the caravan's procession. The Lantern Bearer goes forth, chasing back winter's darkness and lighting the cosmic caravan's way. This sign is disposed toward cheerful, self-sacrificing, and altruistic personalities. The Newlyweds, 17 Callistril to 11 Farast, depicts a young husband and wife whose appearance heralds the beginning of spring. The newlyweds boldly lead the cosmic caravan, but they are guarded by love and youth. The sign favors those who possess a passionate or romantic nature. The Bridge, 12 Farast to 18 Gosrin, is a constellation that symbolizes change. The bridge soars over tempestuous waters and links one snowy cold shore with another where spring has already arrived, and green shoots are already stretching skyward. This is the sign of obstinate, tenacious personalities who do not fear the dark and cold. The Daughter, 19 Gosrin to 13 Desnus, is a young girl who signifies the pure joy and enthusiasm that spring days bring. The Daughter smiles on matters related to merriment, solace, and celebrating holidays. The Rider, 14 Desnus to 20 Serenith, is the mounted warrior who guards the cosmic caravan. It is a combative and contradictory sign that favors both valiant defenders and rash, bloodthirsty bandits. The arrival of the rider marks the beginning of summer's heat. The Patriarch, 21 Serenith to 20 Erastus, is the wise and ancient father of the cosmic caravan, who knows its route and sets the course of its journey. This constellation symbolizes wisdom and experience, and favors judicious and sagacious natures. The Wagon, 21 Erastus to 10 Eridus. The heavily loaded and foundational wagon is what gives the cosmic caravan its name. It is associated with the spirit of enterprise, diligence, and of course swiftness. Personalities drawn to travel and selfless service will find succor under this sign. The Pack, 11 Eridus to 16 Roba, is a group of beasts that trail the cosmic caravan and feed off its bounty. Some sages believe that the pack consists of wild dogs that have been tamed by the caravan's travelers, and that therefore the pack represents family ties, affinity with nature, and mastery of our fauna. Others argue that the pack is a swarm of vermin, feasting on the leavings of the cosmic caravan and greedily coveting the traveler's cooking pots. In this interpretation, the sign takes on a darker, more predatory aspect. The Mother, 17 Rova to 30 Lamashin. The caring and gentle mother dominates the sky when it is time to bring in the rich harvest. Her tender hands hold on to summer's warmth and promise protection against winter's harsh breath. Many scholars agree that the mother also fulfills the role of spiritual guide for the cosmic caravan, and therefore they ascribe to her patronage of those who are of a spiritual or nurturing disposition. The Stargazer, 31 Lamashin to 20 Neth. Ranking up the rear, the Stargazer completes the caravan's procession. A wistful dreamer, the Stargazer is a patron, or is patron, to those of a similar nature. Aloof, perspicacious, in matters important but far removed, yet absent-minded and inept in daily life. It is unsurprising that many scholars possess an affinity for this sign. The Stranger, 21 Neth to 29 Neth, is an enigmatic and foreboding sign that reigns in the night sky for little more than a week. A solitary traveler who follows the cosmic caravan at a distance, the Stranger reveals nothing as to its intent. The Stranger is an outsider, a wayfarer, and many personalities disposed to a life of wandering fall under the patronage of this sign. The Stranger is a sign of contradictions. Some see it as a patron of all adventurers, while others interpret the sign as the grim harbinger of the constellation that follows it. The Follower, 30 Neth to 17 Kirthona, is a dark figure that pursues the cosmic caravan. A disciple of dark forces who is associated with death and darkness, the Follower waxes in power at winter's peak. There are various interpretations of this sign. According to some, the Follower is in exile, cursed and banished from the caravan. Others see the Follower as a fearsome enemy, and it is flight from this foe that forces the cosmic caravan on its perpetual journey. Still others claim that this sign represents death itself. Predictably, those of a darker disposition who possess an affinity for death fall under the auspices of the Follower. Auspices. An old Sarkorian book. In the Western Mountains, there dwelt a clan whose name is no longer spoken today. They were a brave and hardy people who would go down into the deep caves and return laden with glittering ore. The clan flourished. They had all things in abundance, including food and honey, because their neighbors gladly brought the things they forged from the underground ore. Sorry, bought, not brought. A trouble came to the clan on the last day of Calistral, when the mountain passes were ready to shake off winter's icy grip, like hounds waking from a long sleep. Clamoring clouds of dust rose up from the caves that night. Once the dust had settled, the miners went down to look, for they were a brave people who feared neither darkness nor falling rocks. What they found was not darkness or a cave-in. What they found was the pack. The Follower, whose true name had been forgotten generations before, was of clan blood. The Follower was a despicable sorcerer, a degenerate who had turned his back on his ancestors. He loved the daughter of the wise clan patriarch most ardently, but her heart had held no warmth for him. The Follower had stormed into the dark depths of the caves, seething in his resentment. With much wailing and berating, plotted his revenge. That is where the Dread Pack found him, following the scent of profane magic and vice. The pack devoured him, and in so doing, tasted human blood for the first time, and discovered it was to its liking. The pack killed the miners who descended into the caves, and thereafter it began venturing up to the surface each night to devour one of the villagers before dragging the carcass back to the caves to gnaw on the bones. The wise patriarch called the clan together in the longhouse and spoke. Then the elders of the clan spoke, then the warriors, and then anyone else could say their piece. The ancestors had revealed to the patriarch the clan was being punished by the gods for failing to recognize the degenerate sorcerer in their midst, and that no deity would intercede for them now. Lamenting their fate, the clan left their homes, the ancestors carved images and their temples to the gods, and fled. That caravan of grief made its way in silence, but not all the clan was represented among its number. Only women, children, and decrepit elders did it contain. The strong men of the clan had remained behind. Many days they sat in the longhouse, sharpening their weapons and praying. Each night, one of the men would go down into the caves to satisfy the pack's hunger with his own flesh. When all the men were dead, the pack's hunger drove it to the surface. The caravan was already long gone, and the monsters could not pick up their trail. The caravan traveled day and night without rest until it reached the steppe, the very edge of their known world, whence the peaks of their beloved mountains could no longer be seen. And there they settled, living threadbare, meager lives, because they did not know how to rear animals and live the nomadic life they required, and because they had no strong warriors among them. The clan quickly dwindled. The old died, and the young found husbands and wives in other clans, and left to join new households. Years later, during one of the harsh steppe winters, the clan patriarch fell sick and died in the arms of his daughter, and no one could recall the location of that house where the clan had once resided with such freedom and dignity. The final pages of the book had been roughly torn out. So there's a second part to that story.
This was simple enough.
And I thought it could be found in here. I don't know if I failed a perception check earlier. Doesn't look like it. But the other part of the story, the daughter returns. The dark-haired woman is absorbed in sketching an assortment of dagger blades lying on the ground before her. The thick sketchbooks beside her are also filled with drawings of weapons. Suddenly aware that she is being watched, the woman looks up from her work with an exclamation of surprise. "Oh, a visitor in the temple. Your weaponry is so interesting. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Nidalav, a priestess of Pulura, mistress of stars and farewells. What can you tell me about this place?" Nothing that you couldn't learn from others. This is an ancient temple, one of the most sacred in all Sarkoris. After the wound opened, it turned into a secret enclave of resistance. Of course, we don't fight the demons directly, but our knowledge will help us to defeat them someday, once and for all. Who better to take up such a burden than us? Of course, we did not expect Lady Pulura to prolong our mortal lives, but I'm glad of her gift. I'd gaze at the stars for another 100, even another 200 years, if it would help us succeed in our mission. What are you drawing? By a stroke of luck, I came across some blades belonging to ritual daggers. They were just lying in a box in some dusty corner. Just imagine, Sarkorian art, stored away in the temple and then forgotten. This is what I do in my spare time. I gather the items that once made our nation famous, and make sketches, and whatever I cannot find, I draw from memory. During the first 20 years of our imprisonment, I sketched our traditional clothing and adornments. I tried to account for all the clans, even those that had perished or disappeared before the opening of the World Wound. Luckily, items from all across our course are stored in our temple. They were once brought as gifts for the funeral rites of the chieftains. Then I switched to cookware and then to wood carvings. The wood carvings took me almost half a century, since that was one of the main art forms practiced in Sarkoris. Now I've moved on to weapons. When I'm finished, it will be the most complete collection of sketches on the subject of Sarkorian art. At the very least, these items will be preserved on paper, if nowhere else. I found an unusual dagger on an undead corpse not far from the temple. Nidalav's eyes light up. Oh, I recognize the workmanship. Daggers like this tell the story of our great pride and great sorrow. Did you know this temple used to be the gate through which the Sarkorian chieftains passed into eternity? When the rivers flowed with water, barges would depart from Eyes, carrying the bodies of the deceased chieftains. Once the bodies arrived here, and the proper rituals were observed, the dead were sent on their final journey. The burial barge would be set on fire. The chieftains would set off on their last journey aboard the flaming vessel. I myself performed such rites for 2 chieftains, but the World Wound did not spare our sacred waterfall or our dead. When the water began to dry up, cultists of Cabriri turned the bodies of the chieftains into undead. We sheltered behind the walls of our temple, all the while knowing that our noble chieftains had been made into monsters. They roam the area, killing the refugees who are trying to flee the dying Sarkoris. What an ignominious end. Nidalav's voice sounds more angry than sad. Forgive me. This wound has not yet healed, and likely never will. But if you can, bring peace to our chieftains, and bring me their weapons. At least 21 of the monsters raised by these cultists still remain. Does that mean there's 22 daggers in total? Because I have one. I talked to her about it. What can you tell me about your leaders, Alejandro and Kater? They certainly know how to make an impression, don't they? They're as different as day is to night, but that is their strength, and therefore ours as well. Kater is our protector. He is a rock, an anchor against a storm, holding fast against a tide of demon hordes. Alejandro is our guiding star. She has been a leader to others since childhood, and I should know. I followed her here, to the temple. I have to go.
We do it my way.
So it might be... There might be two solutions to the puzzle. I think there's one on each side. So we try the first part of the story. It's possible the second part of the story is behind the other. There's another clue. Yeah. So the other clue is actually at the bottom or at the top. Where's it at? Yeah, so the first part of the puzzle, you put it in order. The other part is in reverse order, which you're not supposed to do. But that's supposed to be a clue for this puzzle. If I have all the pieces. Because the other part of the story is about the daughter going back and hunting the pack. I'm not sure if it's tied to that. So I think the solution is pack, follower, but it has to be in order. A daughter, patriarch.
I'll take care of it.
So I don't know if the pack we mentioned first is the... Alright, so they're in order this way.
Follow if you dare.
So Cusp resets it. So the follower is actually mentioned first. He's the one that was devoured by the pack. Then it was the pack. I don't think that the patriarch was mentioned next, was he? I may not try to solve this puzzle yet, because we don't have all the clues yet. But we'll give it a real quick shot. So follower of the pack. Then the patriarch. The daughter's mentioned. Thought that was it. But I'm not gonna fret about it right now. We have a bunch of quests to do. I wish I remembered where to get the other, look at. I thought they were both in the library. But again, when you come here, it's usually everything's destroyed and people are killed. Because you don't normally access this area until Act 5. So also slight spoilers for other mythic paths. We need to talk to Kater. He was mentioned for another quest. I think he was over here. Let's look at the actual quest real quick. Alright, so some of the stuff we can do right outside. These are all timed. So I'm wondering... I wonder if we can come back to Pulura's Fall after we're done. If we leave and come back. I mean, I know we can for these quests specifically. If we finish the main quest, because normally this is locked off till Act 5. We have... I think we can hide back here. That's where the note was left. A cryptic message. At first glance, this appears to be an ordinary constellation chart, but something about it doesn't seem right. Someone left it in the caves near Pulura's temple. Alright, we'll ambush the trader. I don't know how we're fitting a dinosaur, a hippogriff, and a griffin behind this rock. Ooga booga. A dark figure stealthily approaches the drop location. In the dim light, you can see it's a middle-aged man. He looks around furtively as he reaches for the letter. Silently step out from your hiding place. The man finds nothing in the drop location and releases a sigh of disappointment. He turns to leave, and freezes when he sees you. There's terror in his eyes, but he quickly regains his composure. I'm the commander of Dresden, right? I'm Vistari from the temple. I didn't expect to see you here. I was just taking a walk. Who are you? I'm one of the Stargazers. You must forgive my jumpiness. It's been a long time since I've seen a friendly face outside the temple. The corpses of lost crusaders can hardly be called friendly. Why are you mumbling? Tell me the truth, or I'll shake it out of you. Vistari sighs deeply. Alright. You don't live in the temple, so there's no need to hide anything from you. I'm breaking the law, but I haven't betrayed anyone. It's quite the opposite, actually. You should come with me and ask Christry about the meaning of the note. Christry always says she doesn't want to hide anymore. Maybe talking to you will help her ease her conscience.
I do what I must.
A little romantic involvement, as I suspected. Is Christry the one in here? That's Victus. There.
I'm gone.
I think she's the one we couldn't talk to in here. Wait, is his name always Vistari? I just couldn't talk to him before. Christry greets you anxiously, as if expecting the worst. Are you the commander from Dresden? Although I don't know why I asked. It's not like you could be anyone else. Listen, Christry. The commander... I don't think the commander wishes to harm us. Or wishes us harm. Excuse me. If you want to ease your conscience, tell him everything. Hand over the letter. Vistari said you can decipher this letter. Christry takes the chart. Of course, because I'm the one who put the constellations there in the first place. The lantern bearer is a warden, so it means guard. The stranger is an observing eye, so that means we've been exposed. The sleeping Tarask means we need to lie low and be more cautious. Christry looks at you, her face a mixture of hope and defiance. Vistari said you want to confess something to Eliandra. Christry nods. Yes, I want to confess to Eliandra and our entire community that Vistari and I love each other. We loved each other for so long, we're practically an old married couple. Eliandra is against romantic unions, because she thinks tempestuous passions will cause division in our community. But she doesn't understand the nature of love. You can discipline the flesh, but you can't restrain the soul. Not that Eliandra would believe us, but Vistari and I really did try to resist our feelings. We made a vow to stay away from one another, to never again break the rules. Christry sighs. But the bond between us proved stronger than our resolve. Perhaps it's the will of the stars, and despite everything that's happened, we're simply two halves that are meant to be one whole. If Sarkoris hadn't fallen, we'd have lived happily and freely. We wouldn't have to hide. We wouldn't have to exchange stupid notes. These notes aren't stupid. You really want us to be torn apart, forbidden from seeing one another. Eliandra is a kind and wise leader. I persuade her not to stand in the way of your love. Crestia looks at you doubtfully. I've known her longer than you. Of course, Eliandra is kind, but she is also very stubborn. Once she has made a decision, there's no point in trying to change her mind. She and Katera are much alike in that regard, except he always does what's right. She always does what her heart tells her. And of course, her heart has told her that love should be forbidden, supposedly for the sake of peace in the community. Huh. These stupid rules haven't helped anyone to find peace. Love is the strongest of all feelings. It can be forbidden, but you cannot rid someone of it. Still, I think it's sometimes better to remain silent than to speak up. Oh, the caravan. Alright, so it should be the follower, who is devoured by the pack. Patriarch called together the meeting. The daughter lamented his passing, but that wasn't until later. They left. You'd think the wagon would be next. And the daughter. I've done this puzzle before. I don't remember it being very difficult. I don't remember if we need both pieces. I think we need both pieces to solve the puzzle the first time. Then we do it in reverse order. I could be misremembering, so I'm not too dedicated to solving it at this very moment.
Follow if you dare.
The guard gives you a nod. It's like you've brought the spirit of victory with you, Commander of Dresden. Hope we don't have to wait much longer.
I'm off.
Alright, I'm going to call it here. Next time we will explore right outside of the temple. We'll still be in the Pulura Fall area, or Pulura's Fall area. We're going to try and collect all those daggers. But for now, thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next one.